just owe me. If you ain't gang, 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 don't approach me. Hello, ghetto.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Claire, and as the title states, today I'm going to be telling you my favorite albums that dropped in 2020. While doing that, I'll also be doing something with this thing on my head that we refer to as our hair, because at this moment it looks a mess. This braid out is on its 5th day. Yeah, it's time for us to do something with this until wash day. But let me put this disclaimer out there. Of course, these are my favorite albums that dropped this year. I didn't listen to every album that dropped. I didn't listen to every genre. So for the most part, this is R&B and hip-hop albums, and I can't favorite an album that I haven't listened to. So this list is subjective. This is not in any order. I'm just going to be sharing with y'all some of my favorite albums this year, and if you haven't listened to any of them, these are albums that I would recommend to you. So let's just get right into this video. Now, I don't know what exactly I'm going to be doing with my hair, if I can check this hair tie off, but the first album I have on my list, like I said, this is in no particular order. These are just some albums that I really enjoyed this year. I've went back to over and over. These are albums that I can put on, let play from beginning to end, and I don't have to worry about skipping any songs. I don't have to worry about any of that. So the first album is Blxst, No Love Lost. Now this is an artist I just see, this is the problem, because I don't know how I'm gonna talk and do my hair at the same time. Anyway, so I'll be looking this way because this is where the mirror is. So this is an artist I discovered during the latter part of this year. I saw an artist that I listened to shared his project on their Instagram story, and I was like, you know what, I randomly listened to it. I like going into albums without expectations, because I feel like there is an album this year that I was looking forward to, and I had like certain expectations for this album, and it literally let me down. And it wasn't a bad album, it's just that it didn't meet my expectations. So Blxst, No Love Lost was an album that I went into no expectations. I didn't know anything about him as an artist. I didn't know his music. I didn't know the type of music he made. Nothing. I just went and I listened to the album, and honestly, this is an album that you can put on. And when I tell you there's zero skips from beginning to end. Every song is a bop. It's like, it's R&B, but it's like melodic rap at the same time. It's not like ballads, but at the same time, it's not like boom bap bars. If that makes sense. So like I say, I describe it as melodic rap. So some of my favorite songs of this album are definitely Forever Humble, Got It All, Overrated, Wrong or Right. Definitely an album I'd suggest to check out. The next album on my list is Big Sean, Detroit 2. Now, with Big Sean, I feel like he's one of those artists that, you know, have always had hits. You know, you can't really avoid their music, because like I said, he has had hits, but he has been missing in action for a few years. I'd admit that this is the first Big Sean album that I've listened to. I'm not a huge Big Sean fan. I know his hits, and that's about it. So I guess because, like, honestly, a lot of the big names haven't been dropping this year, and a lot of my favorites haven't been dropping this year, I really explored a lot of new artists. So I listened to this album, and honestly, in my opinion, this is probably one of the best hip-hop projects this year. It was long, and oh my gosh, I am hating these long albums people have been dropping, especially long albums from people that you don't want it from. The worst. And then on top of long albums, they have the heart to drop deluxe. Like, you just gave us 20 songs and you're about to add 10 more. I'm not listening to 30 songs from you. But this is a long album, but I really enjoyed a lot of songs on this album. Yeah. So some of my favorite tracks on this album are Why Would I Stop, Harder Than My Demons, Guard Your Heart, Still I Rise, Lucky Me. Yeah, I like a lot of songs off this album. Like I said, this is the first Big Sean album that I've listened to, and I was definitely impressed. Can you tell that I don't know what the hell I'm doing with my hair? You don't make it cute though. The next album on my list of favorite albums this year, is Dvsn A Muse in Her Feelings. If you don't listen to Dvsn, you're missing out on some good R&B music. Let me tell you, this again was my first project that I listened to from them. I know, I'm late to the game. I randomly came across this album. I can't remember where I saw it. I feel like I saw it on Instagram, and I was like, let me listen to it. And I listened to this album, and I really loved a lot of songs on this album. This is probably one of my favorite R&B albums this year. And if you don't know Dvsn, they are an R&B group that consists of the producer 19 and the singer Daniel. Let me tell you, that boy Daniel, oh child, this album really was a highlight of 2020 for me. And to see that it didn't get any like nominations or was not like any award nominations this year, I was like, wow, you people are really sleep. But some of my favorite tracks on the album was Flawless with Summer Walker, the song he had with oh god, what's her name, Jessie Reyes, the song with Popcan, the song with Buju and Dolla. I'm terrible at knowing the names of songs, but yeah, those are some of my favorite songs. Ooh, Greedy, the song with Snow. Listen, I love most, if not all, the songs on this album, and this is definitely an album you'd want to check out. Now, a lot of their like ride or die fans that have been there since the previous project, so September 5th, and I forgot the name of the other one, didn't like this album because it's not all the ballads that people are used to from Dvsn. And going into this project, like I said, I had no expectations. I just was listening to the music, so I didn't go in judging or comparing it to anything else. And I feel like that's why I really like this album. But for their fans who were familiar with the previous projects, I understand why they didn't like this album as much. But Dvsn is definitely, listen, I love their music. So after listening to this album, I went back and listened to all of the previous projects, and oh child, golden, okay, golden. Now the next project here on my list is Flo Milli Ho. Flo Milli Ho, why is you here? That is the next project on this list. Now again, Flo Milli, before going into this album, I didn't know anything about her, had never heard of her. I saw a tweet from SZA, and you know, whatever SZA says goes. I saw a tweet from SZA talking about some of her favorite rap girls, and Flo Milli was there, and I'm like, who's this? YouTube had recommended me one of her songs like right before I saw the SZA tweet. And I was like, you know what, let me check her out. And I listened to this album, and I was impressed. Like, I really was. Like, there are a lot of good songs in there. One of the things I love the most is her choice of production. Like, there was a lot of versatility. You know, when artists first come out and they have a song that blows up, they tend to like stick to the script and try to like recreate that song over and over and over, and that's what she didn't do, and that's what I really like there was a lot of versatility with her production on this album. I'm like, when I was listening to the beats, I'm like, she chose this, and I really enjoyed this album. Some of my favorite tracks on this album were Pockets Bigger, In the Party, I think that's the one that blew up, Beef Flow Mix, Mood Every Day. Like I said, I liked a lot of tracks off this album, and this is my first project that I listened to from her, so I'm definitely going to be looking out for more of her music. The next album on my list is Jhene, Aiko, Chilombo. Now, I've been a Jhene fan for a very, very, very long time. You will want to learn that I am a TDE stan. This is high-key a TDE stan account. TDE meaning Top Dog Entertainment. So I first learned Jhene when she was running around with them. She's featured on like School by Q tracks. She was featured on Absol tracks. She's featured on Kendrick tracks. So I've been a fan of Jhene. And to me, my favorite project with her is like, I think Sail Out, the one with Kendrick and Absol on it. This album had a lot of good songs. I wouldn't say it's her best album for me. But I enjoyed it. Like the beginning, the album started off strong and the album ended strong. Not talking about the deluxe part, but the album started off strong, it ended strong. It got a little in the middle, like after the song with Absol. I feel like it kind of was meh. and then you got to I think the song with Nas, and it picked back up again. But overall, it was a good album. I had a lot of favorites on here. Like I said, the song with, of course, Triggered was on there. The song with her was there. The song with Nas, the song with Dolla, the song with R.A.P. They were probably my favorites off of the album. The next album on my list, Kehlani It Was Good Until It Wasn't. Now, like Jhene, I've been a fan of Kehlani for years, okay? For years. And this album had one of my favorite songs of this year on it, and that was Hate the Club featuring Masego. Let me tell you, if you got Masego's saxophone on the track, automatically a hit for me. I love me some Masego, but that was one of my favorite songs of this year, and this album was really good as well. I don't feel like it got as much love as it deserved, but overall that was a great album. The next album on my list is Kota the Friend Everything. Now, like the Blxst album, I went into this album with no expectations. The only experience I've had with Kota's music is his freestyles that he would drop on Instagram. I really enjoyed them. And then an artist that I follow and listen to posted this project on their Instagram. And I was like, you know what? No one else has dropped this week. Let me check this out. And let me tell you, this is definitely an album I didn't know I need. Like, this came out I think just before like everything blew up with the Black Lives Matter things and the campaigns and the protests and everything, and this was like a breath of fresh air. Like, it wasn't no braggadocious rap, it wasn't like excessive cursing, it wasn't no empty songs. It's like an album you put on, you go to the beach, you put on and you just chill and you just vibe, and it just like the entire album was a vibe. This album also has one of my favorite songs of this year on it, track Away Park featuring Tight. I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but Away Park is an amazing song. I really love that song. But this is definitely one of my favorite albums this year, and Kota the Friend definitely gained a new fan this year from this album, and I can't wait for him to drop other projects. Next on my list is Reason New Beginning. Now, I must shout out Reason because he is the reason no pun intended, that I've listened to a lot of songs, a lot of projects on this album. He's the reason I heard the Kota the Friend album. He's the reason I listened to Blxst album, and he's the reason I listened to another album on this list. Because like a lot of my music, I don't really go looking for music. A lot of music I listen to is based on association. So most of the artists I listen to like are friends with each other, or are featured on each other's songs, or they run in the same circles or something like that. So I really listen to music based on either association, or I randomly get recommended something and I listen to it and love it. That's how I get new music. So shout out to Reason because he put me onto a lot of music this year. But his album, New Beginning. Reason is signed to Talk About Entertainment. Like I said, this is high-key a PDE stan account. I've been a fan of them since like 2012. I've been a fan of TDE and everything they do. When Reason first time, I didn't really care for his music, but I'm gonna be honest, like his songs didn't really hit for me. It was like, okay, he's not terrible, he can rap, but like I didn't feel his song, so I wasn't really excited to get this album. But when I listened to it, like he gains a new fan. Like he really did his thing with this album. It wasn't super rappy, it wasn't like super boom bap, and I don't have anything against boom bap music, because at the end you script down the song, you take away the poppy instrumental, and you just leave the lyrics there, and I'm good. But this album really shocked me, and yeah, I can't wait for his debut album. I really hope he really takes off with his debut album. My favorite songs in this album is West Side. Oh my gosh, I've listened to that song so many times. West Side, Gossip, Windows Cry, the song with Rhapsody, I think I Can Make It, I think that's what it's called, and then the song with Sakari. Those are my favorite songs off of this project. The next project that's on this list is Syari the Kid, A Toxic Heartbreak. Now, Syari, I've known about him for years, but I've only listened to like a few of his songs. He had a song with Bryson Tiller years ago, Priorities. Amazing song. And shout out to Maul from the Joe Budden podcast. I was listening to the Joe Budden podcast and Maul said Psy had dropped an album that was really good, and I was like, oh, I haven't heard from him in a while, so let me go check it out. And oh my gosh, I've played this album so many times. It's ridiculous. I should probably put this in something so I can brush this up instead. I've played this album so many times. Some of my favorite tracks off this album are Territorial, that's the first track on the album. Aisha, what's the other one? Hood Baby, A Phase. That's the one I probably played the most. But Syari is like, he can sing, but it's not ballads on the thing. It's like croning, kind of, sort of. Yeah, it's more croning and more like melodic rap, but not like ballads. The next album on my list is Symba, Don't Run From Rap. This is the other album that I listened to because of Reason. Reason posted this on his story. Never listened to a Symba project before, don't know anything about Symba, don't know who he signed to, don't know where he's from, nothing. I went into this with no expectations, just put it on during the workout, and yeah, I was satisfied. Like, he definitely gained a new fan, and I will be looking out for music from him in the future. He is definitely like a rapper's rapper. You have a couple, melodic songs on there, but it's rap, it's hip hop. My favorite songs on the project are Big Homie featuring 2 Chainz. I've played that song too many times. And We Tried featuring Jakai. I hope that's how you say that person's name. And yeah, so that was a pretty good album that I enjoyed, and I can put on from beginning to end and not worry about skipping. The next album on here is Pop Smoke Meet the Woo 2. Now, first and foremost, rest in peace to Pop Smoke, of course. I was just introduced to Pop Smoke's music this year. I can't remember. I think I randomly saw it on Instagram. I randomly saw Shake the Room preview with him and Quavo on Instagram, and I think I listened to that, and that was the only song of Pop Smoke's that I heard before his untimely passing. And after that, I went and I listened to almost all of his music, and Meet the Woo 2, I love so many songs off that project. Like, it was really a good project, and I'm happy his project after that, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, did so well commercially, because he really deserved it. I like that one too, but I find myself going back to Meet the Woo 2 more than I go back to Shoot for the Stars, Aim for them. Sucks that I had to, become a fan after his death, but yeah, I'm just happy I got to experience War featuring Lil TJ. The amount of times I played that song is ridiculous. Like Me featuring PNB Rock, Foreigner. I love that song. Yeah, I love a lot of tracks of Meet the Woo 2. The next project on my list is my girl Tink, Hopeless Romantic. I think dropped in February, around Valentine's. And come on, it's Tink. I have a reaction to her most recent project, A Gift and a Curse, that dropped on Christmas Day on my channel. I listen, Tink drop, I'm listening. That's point blank, period. Tink rarely ever disappoints me, so she always gets an air from me, and Hopeless Romantic was no different. So my favorite tracks of Hopeless Romantic were Cut It Out, Freaky, 2 or 3, F Around. The next album on my list is 21 Savage and Metro Boomin, Savage Mode 2. Now from this list you can see my music taste is all over the place. Okay, but 21 Savage, Metro Boomin, Savage Mode 2, this was, like I say, this is a project I didn't go into with no expectations. I didn't hear Savage Mode 1, so I feel like now I have to go and listen to Savage Mode 1. But honestly, I put this track on during a workout and I'm like, this supposed to slap like this? Is this supposed to slap like this? Because listen, the thing about this album that what I feel was the icing on the cake was the narration by, oh gosh, what's the guy's name? Yeah, I think it's Morgan Freeman. Lord, if that's the wrong person, please don't embarrass me in the comments. But his narration made this project, oh gosh, way better than it would have been without it. The narration by Morgan Freeman on this it added so much to it. It added an extra element that really sealed the deal on this project. So I really enjoyed that album. So the next album on my list is Dolla featuring Dolla. Now Dolla is one of those people, like, you've always heard their music. You can't say you're a fan of hip hop, a fan of anything, and you haven't heard a Dolla song. He's definitely featured on one or some or somewhere on one of your favorites record, and that's how he has always been for me. This is the first Dolla project I've ever listened to, so I definitely didn't have any expectations going into the track. I know, like, persons who are fans of Ty would normally say that his features are better than his own songs, because I feel like they be sprinkling Dolla on a track like some parsley when you just finish a meal. He just be everywhere. And yeah, so this album I enjoyed. This is one of the albums I just put on at the beginning of a workout and I'm like, okay. My favorite tracks on this album was Status, and then the run he had on at the end of the album with Everywhere, Slow It Down, and Your Turn. In my opinion, Your Turn is the best song on this album. If every song on the album was similar to those 3 songs, this album would have been amazing. But it was still a good album nevertheless. I enjoyed this album. I have played those 4 songs that I listed too many times, and I will continue to play them because they are really good songs. That's the conclusion of my favorite albums of this year. Now I have some EPs on this, and y'all know, come on, the person who I feel like had an amazing year, person that I feel should be nominated for every Best New Artist award is Giveon. Giveon is probably my favorite artist that I've discovered this year, and his projects take time, and when it's all said and done, they are so good. If you haven't heard of Giveon, if you don't listen to anything I've said today, any of the tracks I've mentioned, any of the projects I've mentioned today, go listen to Giveon. The other EP that I have on this is Joey Bada's The Light Pack. Yeah, if you enjoy boom bap rap, if you enjoy lyricism, you will definitely enjoy his EP. The other EP that I have on this list is BIA For Certain. I've known about BIA for several years. My introduction to her was via the show Sisterhood of Hip Hop. I think it was on there. You had Brianna Perry on there. You had Diamond from Crying Mob on there. And I didn't really, after I stopped watching the show, I didn't really hear about any of them, to be honest. You know, she had the track with Russ, and that was, I feel like, the only music I heard from her. Period. Even when she was on the show, I wasn't hearing any music from her, and this is the first project I've ever heard from her, and I was impressed. The last EP that I have on this is Meek Mill Quarantine Path. That song with him and Bori, what's it called? Oh, Think It's a Game, bro. That song made me feel like I've killed people and I know I've never held a gun in my friggin' life. That song is, it shouldn't be that good. Like the passion behind their lyrics, the way it sounds, the way it feels, like it's very haunting. Like if that song had came out around Halloween, oh my gosh, that was a great track. Definitely my favorite track off of the EP. But in total, I enjoyed the entire EP. So that brings us to the end of this video. This is the finished style. This is just something I wanted to do while recording this video, because I didn't just want to sit here and talk. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed, or I put you on to some projects that I really liked this year. If you listened to any, or if you are going to check out any, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, I guess you can dislike, but why would you do that? What are you gaining from disliking my video? But yeah, until next time, see y'all when I see y'all.